Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Century Textiles and Industries Limited Q2 FY22 earnings conference call. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star, then 0 on your touchtone phone. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Anuj Sonpal, CEO, Valorem Advisors. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to you all. My name is Anuj Sonpal from Valorem Advisors. We represent the investor relations of Century Textiles and Industries Limited. On behalf of the company, I would like to thank you all for participating in the company's earnings conference call for the second quarter of financial year 2022. Before we begin, as mandatory, I would like to mention a short cautionary statement. Some of the statements made in today's earnings conference call may be forward-looking in nature. Such forward-looking statements are subject to risks and uncertainties which could cause actual results to differ from those anticipated. Such statements are based on management's beliefs as well as assumptions made by and information currently available to management. Audiences are cautioned not to place any undue reliance on these forward-looking statements in making any investment decisions. The purpose of today's earnings conference call is purely to educate and bring awareness about the company's fundamental business and financial quarter under review. Now, let me introduce you to the management participating with us in today's earnings con call before I give it to them for opening remarks. We have with us Mr. J.C. Ladda, Managing Director, Mr. R.K. Dalmia, Senior President of Century Textiles and Whole-Time Director, Mr. J.P. Narayan, CEO of Century Pulp and Paper, Mr. K.T. Jitendran, CEO of Birla Estates, Mr. Snehal Shah, Chief Financial Officer, and Mr. Nilay Rathi, Senior Vice President of Commercials. Now, without any further delay, I request Mr. Ladda to start with his opening remarks. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Anuj. A very good afternoon to everyone joining us today, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all to the earnings conference call for the second quarter of financial year 2022. I hope that you and your family members are healthy and keeping safe. At the outset, I am happy to inform that in Q2 FY22, we had a stellar performance, especially across the manufacturing businesses, supported by higher operating efficiencies and a good turnaround in the market sentiments, which helped the company achieve its highest quarterly turnover in last 2 years. Now, let me start by briefing you on the financial performance of our company on a consolidated basis for the second quarter of financial year 2022. The consolidated net sales for the quarter under review saw a 67% growth year-on-year to rupees 998 crores from rupees 596 crores in the same quarter in the previous financial year. This was majorly driven by textile business, which grew by more than 100%, with sales at rupees 261 crores from rupees 125 crores last year, and pulp and paper business also grew well by 64%, with sales at rupees 686 crores from rupees 419 crores last year. The consolidated EBITDA for the quarter under review improved by more than 100% to rupees 133 crores from rupees 66 crores last year. This was again mainly driven by the textile business, where EBITDA saw a turnaround to rupees 7 crores from an EBITDA loss of rupees 15 crores last year. And pulp and paper EBITDA grew by 115% to rupees 114 crores from rupees 53 crores last year. The consolidated net profit for the quarter also witnessed a major improvement to rupees 32 crores in the quarter from a loss of rupees 10 crores in the same quarter last year. Moving on to the cash flow for the company, we had an operating cash flow of rupees 102 crores and free cash flow stood at rupees 53 crores for the quarter. As you can see overall, this quarter, we saw a healthy turnaround in financial performance, especially in the paper and textile businesses. Sales as well as production for pulp and paper segment for the second quarter of the financial year 22 operated at more than 100% and reached a lifetime highest ever volume. EBITDA for this segment also improved with 16.6% margin compared to 12.6% last year, same quarter. Capacity utilization in the textile business too reached 91% level and continuous increase in dispatches were able to bring down inventory to normal levels. Lastly, for the real estate division, revenue remained stable. Now let me take you through some of the key highlights across our three business verticals. First being the real estate business. In the month of September, we launched the second phase of Birla Vanya at Kalyan, which received strong response from the customers, and we clocked over rupees 105 crores of sales in the first month itself. We achieved sustained sales of around rupees 200 crores during quarter 2 of FY22 and robust collections of rupees 76 crores from all the projects on the back of strong customer connect and outreach. Overall, we have achieved total booking value of rupees 245 crores and collections of rupees 124 crores in the first half of FY22. Our two commercial assets, Birla Aurora and Birla Centurion, continue to generate stable rental. Talking about yet to launch projects, the approval process for the first phase at Century Mills Worli and Magadi Road project Bengaluru is progressing well. We have also received the building plan approval for our Magadi Road Bengaluru project, and the launch preparations are ongoing. During quarter 2 FY22, we saw the gradual opening up of the country with the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic receding and a significant ramp up of the vaccination across the country. This in turn significantly improved job security to robust hiring in the IT, ITS and financial sectors, and with record low home loan rates and growing home ownership sentiment supported residential housing demand as well. The economic activities expected to further gain momentum because of strong fundamentals over the coming quarters, led by favorable monetary conditions and improved customer sentiments due to festive season. The work from home and e-schooling realities have become the fulcrum of home buying decisions in the post-pandemic world. The customer predisposition towards branded developers with credibility, well-designed apartments and projects, superior location and reliable post-sales activity will hold us in good stead as we build up on our growth story over the coming quarters. On the ESG initiatives for the real estate business, we continue our efforts from our previous quarter, benefiting 3,500 nearby villagers with water for their crops and personal use by constructing a check dam at Adibali village near Kalyan, Maharashtra, in collaboration with Rotary Foundation. Lastly, the business is fully committed to governance with robust compliances in place for its regulatory requirements. Friends, now moving on to the pulp and paper segment, this quarter marked a major achievement for the Century Pulp and Paper, highest quarterly sales and production volumes since the plant commenced operations 30 years back. During the quarter, we observed various relief and relaxation measures in the country, resulting in the ground level situation improving gradually. Quarter 2 FY22 sales volumes grew by 64% year on year to rupees 686 crores and EBITDA grew by 115% to reach rupees 114 crores with overall capacity utilization above 100%. This was due to an improvement in demand for writing and printing paper, especially in the copier segment with opening of offices and judiciary, which boosted retailers to build up stock for smooth supplies on increased consumption. The non-copier grade paper demand also improved with opening of educational institutions, including high school classes after a gap of almost 18 months. The board segment continued to perform well with robust demand from pharma, FMCG, food packaging sectors, and even uptick in demand from the non-packaging sector. Due to increase in input prices of wood and imported pulp during the quarter, multiple price increases were taken in the board segment to cover our increased cost of production. Impact of these price increase will get fully reflected from October month. The rising awareness towards hygiene among general public, further helped by second COVID wave, greatly enhanced the consumption of tissue products in the quarter as well. With regards to the new tissue plant, the same is still under stabilization. Team from Sweden will be visiting in the current month, that is in October 21, for the final trial. We are hopeful of achieving full capacity utilization in quarter 3 of FY22. Improved medical infrastructure facilities in the country and the aggressive vaccination drive has negated the earlier speculation that third COVID wave, and with most of the paper consumption points projected to open completely soon, the order flows are expected to remain stable or improving going forward. The shortage of containers globally has increased logistics cost, which has impacted exports. Considering the present domestic and global economic scenario, short to medium term outlook for Indian paper industry appears to be flat or positive. Now let me highlight on the various ESG initiatives undertaken during the quarter for the pulp and paper business. Started an initiative to collect dry pine tree leaves in the hilly areas of Uttarakhand, which caused wildfires, and 165 metric tons pine tree leaves was processed in plant boilers during the quarter, which reduced our carbon footprint as well. On the social front, around 275 chairs and tables were provided to classrooms for students at government primary schools, and 40 toilets were constructed in the quarter at Bindukata and Shantipuri for poor people, which benefits approximately 40,000 people. Also, 30 hand pumps were provided for the drinking water at Shantipuri village, benefiting about 3,750 people. Now let us move to the textile division. I would request Mr. R.K. Dalmia, who is the Senior President of Century Textiles and the whole-time Director of the company, to give the key performance highlights. Over to you, Mr. Dalmia.
Thank you, Mr. Ladda. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome to this earnings conference call. In the second quarter of financial year 22, the domestic demand, which was remained subdued for a long time, started picking up due to upcoming festive season, and dispatches increased, bringing down the inventory to normal level, and the production increased by 35% against last year, and the plant reaching 91% capacity utilization. The sales of the quarter grew by 109% year to year to 261 crores, while EBITDA grew substantially from a loss of 15 crore rupees in the same quarter previous year to 7 crore rupees in this quarter. The order flow in the apparel segment was good, and normalcy attained after the vaccination drive. Price trend was also trending upward, and we are expecting market to get stabilized even further. In textile segment, the margins were really under pressure with increased sea freight cost due to ongoing container shortages issue, and with global brand emphasizing on higher priced organic cotton and imported fiber. The raw material prices again started increasing, but normalcy is expected from Q3, provided the new crop brings stability to cotton prices. With the new normal, business is expected to increase with good demand locally as well as from the international market. Overall, it is expected to be a good year for textile players in India. Further, I am happy to inform that Birla Century is working on product development in various cotton blends using substantial options of viscose, polyester, etc., which seems to be the new trend. And lastly, let me highlight to you on various environment, social governance initiatives undertaken during the quarter for textile business. We successfully completed foundation and progressive level of supply to zero certificate for zero discharge of hazardous chemical, which confirms about our leadership in chemical management. On social front, we installed oxygen generation plant at Sevashram Hospital, Bharuch, which is sufficient to cater to 30-35% patients at a time, and classroom was also constructed in nearby villages. Towards customer centricity, we adopted SAC, Sustainable Apparel Coalition, which are guidelines for improving transparency and traceability as sought by the global brand. Now I hand over the call back to Mr. Ladda.
Thank you, Mr. Dalmia. In conclusion, as the vaccination drive accelerates, we are hopeful of our continued performance. We can now open the floor for the question and answer session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to withdraw yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Venkat Samala from Tata Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thanks a lot for this opportunity. Sir, my first question is with respect to margins, right? So I understand that we have done very well across the segments when it comes to the top line. But then we also see a QOQ decline in margins of about 150 odd bits, right? So I'm just trying to understand if you could give a segment-wise color as to what has led to this decline and how should we as investors look forward to it. And given the backdrop of, I know you've been taking some price hikes, is that good enough to sort of mitigate the RM pressures that we are seeing across the segments?
So should I take this, Snehal?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if we talk about segment-wise, in fact, if we talk about pulp and paper business, the margins have gone up. Last year, same quarter, the margins, EBITDA margins were 12.6%, which is now at 16.6%. But what you say is right, it is still lower than the normal levels which we had pre-COVID. The main reason is basically the increased prices of raw material and other inputs, which we are passing on in the market, but there is always a time lag when we procure and we produce and we are able to pass it on. So I am sure in the coming quarter, quarter 3, quarter 4, definitely these margins will go up. Even if you see textiles, the margins are much better. In the same quarter last year, they were negative. However, as of now, in the quarter 2 of FY22, the margins are positive. And going forward, situation will further improve. Hope this answers the question, Venkat.
Right. So, sir, I'm just trying to understand that, while we're discussing about the demand scenario improving, and also with respect to, paper business, the mix would gradually be shifting to the stationery paper segment, right, where the margins that we enjoy are usually higher due to the higher realization. So I'm just trying to understand that when will we get to that 20% odd mark at the console level, right? Because at the top line we are already there, but at the EBITDA level we still have some distance to cover, right? So I'm just trying to understand. I mean,
yeah, JP, can you take over this question, please?
Just a moment, JP. Venkat, just to clarify, I think you were doing the EBITDA margin comparison on an overall basis.
Right.
And both textile and paper have shown improved margins. The reason why you're seeing the lower margin on an overall level, because the EBITDA of real estate has gone down from last quarter, and which according to us is a good thing, because we have actually started spending on heightened activity. Therefore, the EBITDA is almost zero compared to what it was in the last quarter. So,
right.
And so I now
actually on the standalone level. Standalone level, we are seeing still margins of around 13.5, right? Which we used to do 20% plus. I mean, pre-COVID levels.
In terms of paper business, JP will answer that question.
Hi Venkat. See, your question is valid. Right now we are in the range of 16.5%. And writing printing segment has started moving. We have taken, I think, 2 price hike in that segment, but we have got a order of the last month, so you can say the benefit will be coming. The impact will be coming in the price in mid of November or so. right? So in next quarter, I think it should touch somewhere around 19 to 20% margin, and beyond that, in Q4 it will further improve.
Okay. So basically, then we can expect by Q4, if there are no more supply side pressures in terms of RM. At the current situation, we expect the margins to normalize at the standalone level, right?
Correct.
Okay. Thanks a lot for that. And my second question is with respect to the increase in the inventory that we are seeing on a standalone level, which actually is taking a toll on the cash flow generation, which is especially the cash flow generated from operations. If I look at it, it's negative 60 crores, right? And that is despite the good EBITDA that we are doing. So I'm just trying to understand. I mean, and a large portion of that is to do with the increased inventory of about 400 odd crores. So what exactly is this?
Snehal, can you answer this?
It comprises majorly of, I think, real estate development around whatever project we are completing now. As per Ind AS, we have to do till the time we do commercial, means we launch the project, it comes in inventory only. So it around 250-60 crore is towards real estate, and balance as compared to previous periods in paper and textile, little bit inventories has increased.
Acha. So that real estate business inventory also gets reflected in the standalone entity, is it?
Correct.
Okay. Understood.
Venkat, inventory in the pulp and paper business, it's reducing very fast. I think it will be get through within the next month or so.
Right. And just to understand a little bit further on this real estate inventory on the standalone, is it like a transitory thing, and then whenever the projects are completed, that will move to the other Birla Estates entity? I mean, that is the way to look at it?
So, Venkat, you have to understand right now the two major projects that we are doing. One is the Kalyan project and the other one is the Bangalore project. Now, particularly the Kalyan project is actually a land which is, in our parent book. So all that work that is happening is actually getting booked as inventory in the parent company. And you're right, absolutely, once everything is over, this will be squared off, and therefore, and at that particular time, we'll be actually showing the EBITDA of the project itself.
Okay. So, just because we are booking we are seeing impact of that in balance sheet. So, what would be the real estate related expenses which would be coming above the EBITDA level for the real estate business on the standalone segment?
So right now what we are showing as EBITDA is basically the release rental income that we receive from our two commercial buildings, and that is the only EBITDA that is booked in the and actually that is booked in the correct me if I'm wrong, it's booked in the parent company. It's not in the subsidiary.
Okay. And against that, do we also book any expenses at the parent level for the real estate?
I mean, most of those expenses to run the commercial buildings, those are booked against that.
Okay. So the rest largely happens in the subsidiary level itself, whatever expenses are there. Okay. Sure. Thanks a lot for that. And my last question is with respect to the MMF JV that we are undertaking with Grasim. So which stage are we in currently? Have we decided on a land parcel or anything of that sort? And what are the timelines for that? And are we thinking of getting any benefits from the PLI scheme for this project specifically?
Yes, Venkat, your question. The land, it will come in our existing facilities of our textile factory. There we have a land, and we will sublease to our JV. Secondly, the PLI scheme, we will take the benefit of the PLI scheme. We are eligible for that. And as our timeline is there, it is We are at the initial stage. We are placing the order, and hopefully by end of this financial year or by end of the June, we will able to start the trial production. It will take at least 9 to 10 months to stabilize the factory. So by June or next year, we expect the results will start to come in on that.
Okay. So Q1 FY23 is when we expect the commencement of that particular project.
Right. You are right.
Okay. And what would be the margins that we can expect from that particular segment?
20 to 25%.
20-25%. Okay. Sure. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I'll join back in the queue. Wish you all the best and wish you a happy Dussehra as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pritesh Chheda from Lucky Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Sir, I have one question on the paper. What is the NSR movement beginning September and until now? Because what gets reflected in quarter 2 obviously is the average for the quarter, and there is a lot of NSR movement towards the end of the quarter. Correspondingly, whatever is the incremental NSR movement, how much of it do you think will slow down to your profitability?
We have got around 10% in terms of paper and 4% in terms of gold from beginning of September.
So this 58 rupees NSR which you have reported in the quarter, that should go up by whatever percentage you are mentioning as of now until October, right?
Yes, it will overall NSR movement will be somewhere around 2%. It will go from 59.5 because this writing printing segment is 46%, and there will be a gradual increase. So the entire you can see the price increase will get impacted in real NSR mid of November.
So eventually, at least eventually, if these NSR stays, there is a 10% price hike which has to flow down to your NSR, right? Eventually.
Yes.
Okay. And what is the corresponding increase in the cost of production, if any?
See, till now, from last 3 months, the 8% manufacturing cost has gone up. What we are anticipating is coal will not impact us, so it's going to remain stable around 1 or 2% here and there. If any chance coal is getting impacted, then the manufacturing cost may jump by another 3%.
So you're saying it has gone up by 8% as of now from in the last?
Yes, in the last quarter.
Okay, it has gone up. But that 8% is already baked in the last quarter's P&L, right? It's
already covered in the last quarter P&L.
Okay.
Because that has got nullified with the increase in realization prices. So as input prices are going up, same time we are taking a call to increase the prices in the market for finished goods.
Okay. So this was helpful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 at this time. The next question is from the line of Nilanjana Roy from Ventura Securities. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. My question is regarding the project in Magadi Road, Bangalore. So, when is this expected to be delivered, and what is the expected cost of this project?
Hi, Nilanjana. The Magadi Road project in Bangalore. This is expected to be launched sometime in November. Waiting for the RERA approvals. Once we obtain that, we'll start market activation, etc. And then, hopefully late November or early December is what we are planning to launch. The project is expected, it's 2 high-rise towers of about 30 stories. So it will take about 3.5 to 4 years for it to be delivered.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the expected cost?
So it's a project which will have a top line of about 600 crores around. and we are expecting a 20% IRR there. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And the project in which is a JV in the golf course extension Gurgaon. So even this, I wanted to know when is it expected to be delivered by, and what is the expected cost here?
So, Niranjan, this is a project which will again be built in phases. A large project, it's about 1.8 million square feet. It's a project of about 1.8 million square feet, of 200 crores. So we have just launched the first phase, which is about 630 crores top line. It's a 50-50 profit share, and now we are getting into the next phase of the launch. So there will be a couple more phases. So overall, it should be done in about 6 years' time, of which 1 year is gone. Yeah, maybe another 5 years.
Okay. And the expected cost here?
Yeah, so we are expecting about 40-45% of margins here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, these are my 2 questions. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sanket B, an individual investor. Please go ahead. Mr.
Hello.
Sanket, your line is in talk mode. Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Please proceed with your question.
So can you tell us about your JV with Grasim? Hello.
Hello. Can you be a little more specific what you want to know? We had earlier answered this question. So any additional thing that you want to know?
Wanted to understand what this JV is about and what are the future prospects of it.
Yeah. Okay. Dhanmyaji, Nilay, would you like to answer?
Yes. The JV is the 50-50% with the Century Textiles and Grasim, and it is for the man-made fiber to knit products, specialized products, which at present is very less available in the country and mainly import from the China. So we want to develop and manufacture those products and on the quality side. So we want to develop this business further on MMF.
So how big will this opportunity be for us, and by when should something come in the books for the same?
Again tell me. I could not able to hear you very loudly.
So how big will this opportunity be for us, and when can we see revenue on it?
Revenue is around 450 to 500 crores rupees, and margins will be between 20-25%.
Okay, got it. And can I get a little update on the Century Mills Worli project? Like when is it expected to launch, and how many phases will it be?
It is.
Yeah.
Please take up.
Yes, Sanket. So it will be in about 3 phases. The first part of the launch, the Worli East land. The first phase will be in the range of about 8.5 lakh square feet. We're expecting this to be launched sometime in early Jan.
Okay, and going forward, the other 2 phases, by when are they expected?
Yeah, so largely it totally depends on how phase 1 gets sold and what velocity, at what speed. So based on that, we'll do. Once we sell about 50-60% of the phase 1 inventory, we will start, because we need variety of inventory, we will gear up for phase 2, which will be another tower. So I'm hoping a period of a year from the first launch.
Got it. Thanks. And are there any other projects which are there in the pipeline which have not been mentioned on the presentation?
No. So whatever is there has been mentioned. Magadi is going to get launched. This project at Delhi is this next phase is gearing up for launch. Kalyan, another phase will come up for launch soon. So largely these are the projects which is being launched, or where work is going on at full swing. Of course, there are other parcels of land available with us, but that will be a future, maybe at least a couple of years ahead.
And of course, we are looking at several new acquisitions slash JVs, JDAs. So once we sign it up, then we would be happy to announce that.
Sure. Thanks for answering the questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sriman Dudoria, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thanks for the opportunity. Just had a question and clarification in the paper segment, wherein you mentioned that there has been an 8% impact on the cost, and with the coal cost increasing, that would be an additional 3% increase in the cost. And the overall NSR on a blended basis would be an increase of 4%. So is it fair to assume that the NSR has to still inch up to cover up the additional increase in the cost, because it looks like about 11% increase in cost and about just 4% increase in NSR?
See, I told that there is a 8% cost already has happened, increase had already happened. 3% we are anticipating from coal. Right now that impact is not there because we have got a coal, we are covered for next 1 month. And during that 1 month, if there will be any adverse effect, then we have to go into a market and that additional impact will be there. But till now, we are not anticipating that because we are in talk with Coal India and we have got you can say the set delivery due, which is likely to get delivered after 18th. So this is a remote possibility. If it comes, then we will take a further call to increase the prices in all our 3 variants: tissue, packaging board, and paper.
Sure. So with the price increases which has happened so far, most of our cost increase have been covered.
Yeah, that had been covered.
Okay. Secondly, sir, on the power generation, wanted to know how much of our generation is based on say the black liquor, or how much it is based on coal-fired captive power plants?
We have got a 40% power generated through renewable resources and 60% from coal.
Renewable. Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nirav Shah from GC Holdings. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. So just a question on the Worli project. Any pending approvals that we are awaiting before the launch? And related question is, what is the likely rate at which we intend to launch that project?
Yeah, thank you, Nirav. So as I mentioned, there are all critical approvals are in place. So there are a few routine sort of approvals which are still expected from BMC, which we will be getting in the due course. But that will not stop the construction, but we're just, for good order's sake, we are just waiting for them so that by the time we launch, all of the tick mark on all approvals are there. These are in the phase of tree NOC, high-rise committee clearance, etc. So all very routine. We have to apply for RERA now. We'll be applying for RERA now, and then we're expecting RERA clearance in about a month's time, and then I think we will start warming up the market. Gearing up our PR and marketing activities, which should start from next month itself. Pricing, I think that's something which is still in the discovery process. I wouldn't like to wager on that right now. We are once closer to the launch, we do a market discovery. That's the time I would be more comfortable talking about that. But it should be, in more or less the range in which market is in that area, in that micro market. So maybe once we get a more stronger hold after getting the RERA, we do a bit more research, then I'll be comfortable talking about the price.
Got it. And just the second question is, during which phase will we club the commercial part of that Worli project?
So so the first focus will be in launching the residential and collecting cash. It's very important. There's a huge amount of cash. Expect unlocking capital and cash unlocking expected from phase 1, phase 2 launches. Once we get comfortable of that, in the process we get a very strong launch. So maybe in 2 to 3 years, we would be in a better position to launch the commercial.
Got it. Great.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir, and wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, Nirav.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Tarun from Sundar Ispat Limited. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Firstly, congratulations on your great result. I had a few questions on the Worli project, but quite a few questions have already been answered. But I really wanted to know that seeing the rising steel prices, will that have an effect on the pace of the project which you are going to take forward?
Sundar, are you talking about steel prices?
Yeah, the steel prices and the cement as well.
No, not at all. Be rest assured. Absolutely no impact on that. Yeah, we'll take care of that. Yeah.
Okay.
That's not going to impact in any way. Yeah.
Okay. Also, are there any new projects which are in the pipeline which you are going to introduce, like in different cities other than Bangalore and Bombay and Delhi?
So, Sundar, we are actually, working on several proposals and options. Hopefully, before the end of Q3 and more particularly before the end of this financial year, I'm hoping that we will be able to announce a few projects, largely in the markets that we are operating in. At this time, we are completely focused on these stated markets. I think we need to consolidate in these markets by at least doing 4 to 5 projects, etc. Only then we will be looking at new cities. I think there is enough and more demand and activity happening in these 4 cities that we have mentioned: Bombay, NCR, Bangalore, and Pune. So our focus will remain on these markets for the medium term.
Okay. Also, one of my last questions is, will we expect any new JV announcement this year?
Sure. We are working on several of them. Once we do proper due diligence and sign on them, then we'll be happy to announce them. But till that, we are not sure. There are several proposals. So, once we sign on them, then we'll be happy to announce.
All right. That's all I have to know. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sundar.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 at this time. The next question is from the line of Saket Kapoor from Kapoor Company. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Namaskar, sir. Hello. Yeah. Hello.
Sir, please proceed with your question.
Yeah. You can hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Sir, firstly, coming to this part about this inflationary trend, you mentioned that for steel and cement prices going up, there is no impact. So could you please dwell deeper? So what is our annual requirement in case of the real estate activities in terms of the steel uses that goes a rough estimate and how do we hedge them, sir?
So Saket, the point I wanted to make mention is that usually we have escalation clauses and we supply steel at basic prices. So what we look at is the incremental increase. And over a period of 4 to 5 years, there are several cycles. Sometimes it comes down, sometimes it goes up. Right? For example, we had a basic price for a Kalyan project around 42,000 rupees per metric ton. When we started the project, in between it came down to 37,000. Now it is at 50,000. So it keeps balancing out, and we have an escalation budget we always keep. So considering that that sort of hedging is there, this is of minimal impact.
Okay. Yeah. It is the execution period that is higher. That is the reason.
Right. Yeah, it evens out. It's a period of 4 to 5 years. For example, I can tell you in specific case in Kalyan, even if our entire requirement is about 10,000 metric tons or so, I mean the balance requirement. So even if prices go up by another 10,000 rupees, the impact is about 50 lakhs. So that's the sort of thing. I'm saying it's not going to impact so much.
Correct. So now coming to my point with respect to firstly to the paper segment. So there also coal prices and I think so even chemical prices in caustic soda in particular, the prices have risen sharply. So if you could give us some estimate, what are the trend in the caustic soda prices and how is that going to impact that have been moving up off late only?
Yeah, especially coal is not impacting us because we have got a FSA agreement with Coal India. and we have got a tie-up. We have got a regular supply from them, so we are covered in next 1 month. And during that month, if the scenario got little worsen, then we need to prepare from the market. Then that impact will be there. And during that time, we can take a price hike in all of our 3 segments. In terms of chemicals and other inputs, yes, price increase is there. In chemical, I think in caustic, there is around more than 20% price hike is there. But there is a reduction in some other chemicals also. So if we take overall the kitty of all the chemicals, there is a 5 to 6% price hike is there. So we are taking care of that by increasing the price as and when it's required.
And lastly, on this our textile segment also, I think so, sir, with the increase in import duty and also the cotton prices of all various varieties going up, how are the margins likely to look, sir, going forward?
At present, the margins are under pressure because the cotton prices has gone up abnormally high, both on imported as well as in a domestic cotton. And the order placed by the retailer and the customer are well in advance for 6 months or a year. In a home textile, particularly the US market, all retailers place the order for a year and subject to the price revision in very rare case or very abnormal situation. But since now the new order, which retailers are ready to absorb the prices of increase in the fiber to some extent. So we will be able to manage this increase in the cotton prices as well as the duty also. But the duty is already 1 year has passed when the duty has increased. So that already has been accounted for.
Okay, sir. And my last point, if I may be allowed, sir, how is the revenue mix and the profitability contribution from the various segments are going to look, say 1 to 3 years down the line? How is this contribution? Sir, currently it is the paper that contributed to the maximum, if I'm correct me there. Going forward also, sir, for depending upon the business plans and the expansion that we are taking, how is the mix likely to look? And sir, on the paper segment, sir, any update on the new education policy? In fact, I think so not much has been spoken about the new education policy being unveiled, and how is that going to impact the demand scenario in the paper industry with printing of the new syllabus and the stuff like that, sir?
This year, the new policy is not getting implemented. They have postponed to next year. The reason was that the trader has given the representation to the government of India that they are holding a lot of inventory. So they have asked to liquidate whatever the inventory they were carrying and ask the government to postpone that for next year. And whenever that policy will come, quite obvious there will be a shortage of paper across the country. Because all the textbooks,
no, sir, you complete, sir. Sorry.
Because all the textbooks from all levels will be replaced with the new printing. So I think the requirement will be quite high and there will be a shortage for a year or so.
And how is this our industry prepared for it? So depending upon the capacity enhancement by you and other players, especially in the printing segment, and also, sir, with the non-availability, I think so, of the reused paper, the import which used to happen from China, how are the things balanced for the paper industry as a whole, sir? And what advantage you and the other major players are in a position to enjoy going forward, depending upon this mismatch in the demand-supply situation?
Yeah, you have asked 2-3 questions. So one, in the recycled paper, there is a disruption because last year there was a low, you can say, sale of 40% paper. So India is normally consuming some 22 to 24 million tons of paper in a year. So last year only 16 million ton paper has gone into the market. So that is getting recycled and there is a shortage. So there is a big disruption, especially in sourcing of recycled paper. And right now the cost of recycled paper is very high and it's not feasible for the recycling industry to run the business. That is one. In terms of preparedness, in the normal scenario, there is a good amount of balances there in the country. But till the time these disruptions are not being neutralized, because you need to import the recycled paper that will neutralize the disruption of recycled paper availability. Then there is a disruption in coal, there is a disruption in chemicals. So till the time these disruptions are not being neutralized, there will be uncertainties in this market. And this industry cannot be add the further capacity because the demand of new book printing will be only for 1 year. So that will be gradually, you can say, fulfilled by the industry manufacturing capacity, and remaining year it will get stabilized.
Right. And for the industry,
Mr. Kapoor, sorry to interrupt, sir, but for any follow-up question, may be requested to rejoin the queue, please. The next question is from the line of Neeraj Mansinga from White Pine Investment Management. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I have few questions. One in the textile segment. So there was in the last 2 quarters, there was an increase in the cotton prices as well as the yarn prices, and companies might have taken advantage of holding lower inventory costs. Do you see an environment where the margins for the textile will be compressed because of retailers only passing a small increase in prices compared to what should be needed to maintain the margins?
The cotton prices are abnormally high
and
expected to be stabilized in the coming months because of new crop will come in the domestic market. As well as the imported fiber are concerned, which is mainly in our case, is from the US and Egypt. There also prices are abnormally high. But now the retailers, for the new order, they are gearing up to give the increase in the prices of the end products. So it will affect the margins in present situation also, but I don't think in future orders it will be affect so much as far as both in domestic as well as in international business of our textile business.
Yes, but so just one hypothetical question: how much would be the price hike needed by the customer by you for selling to the customers to maintain the margins for last year?
No, for customer, just like our retailers are ready to give at least 15 to 20%, in some cases of 30%, which is the price increase in the cotton and other inputs. As far as customers are there, which depends on MRP, their price will also, they will revise the MRP to meet out this cost increase.
Okay. So the reason I'm deliberating here because generally this is one of the sharpest increase in the prices over the last 2 years. So wondering if your margins will compress or it remain the same. And that's the reason I was deliberating on that.
Again the question, I could not understand the question.
So the thing is that if retailers I have not heard of any time when the retailers in the US and other companies would have increased prices by 10% plus. So they're just wondering that is that much price hike possible to pass on the higher cotton prices?
Because you see, earlier the cotton prices had not gone up to that extent. And apart from that, cotton prices, other input costs like chemical and coal prices have gone up. So now if retailers will not accept these prices, then they will not get the fabric. So they have to go for that. They have no option because their pipeline is also dried up. So they have to place the order on the higher prices. Otherwise, they won't get the fabric or end product.
Got it. So second question, my question is on the paper side. Do you see, because the syllabus has been moved a year later, the demand for writing and printing paper will still be muted for next 1 year?
No, it will not be, because there is a lot of the pipeline is completely empty right now because there was no certainty in the price, and the people were worried about the third wave, so they have not bought the material what they require. So now they have started buying the material for publishing as well as for the exercise notebooks. So demand is good enough and it's coming back. So I don't see any reason for muted demand, especially for a year or so.
And then, sir, after that, there will be the syllabus change, which will have a 2 year of good demand. Is it?
Demand, yes.
Okay. So, and the other thing on the paper is that considering the current costs and the current prices, are your margins higher compared to what you reported in last quarter, or is it same or lower based on current prices?
It's 1% higher, but I'm sure that it will jump by further 2% by month of November.
Okay. So basically, we may have to take high prices because what I understand is that caustic prices have increased further, but I think there is a monthly reset that they do, the companies. So then there's a higher margin impact and there's a higher raw material impact, which we may have to increase higher prices. Is it right to assume that?
Yes, because that price hike they had already taken, but the impact will gradually come in our NFI.
Okay, got it, sir. So last question on the real estate side, KT sir, hi, Neeraj here. On the Worli project, what would be the estimate of your spend in per square feet on average for the project? Hello.
Katie?
Okay.
Katie, can you unmute?
Okay, I'll stop. Yeah.
Mr. Jitendran, we are unable to hear you. If you can unmute yourself from your end.
There's something wrong. I think it's not able to hear.
Okay. Okay. And my last question for Mr. Ladda. So now that the launch of the real estate is very close and the company is a mix of a conglomerate, do you have some thought internally how the corporate structure will evolve, or there's a demerger possibility over the next 2-3 years?
I would mention at this stage that as of now, there is no discussion on that. As and when that happens, we'll come back to you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is a follow-up from the line of Nilanjana Roy from Ventura Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, my one question is on a consolidated level. Can we have any guidance on the CapEx for the next few years?
Nehal, can you take that?
Hi, Nilanjana. On the CapEx, I think our major expenditure is all going to be on the real estate. So hardly there is not major CapEx planned in the textile business. A little which would be there would be mainly, on maintenance or environment related, and it would be met out of internal cash flows of the division. A similar case with pulp and paper also. Most of the capex that they require to a certain extent to increase their capacity as well as improve their costings, etc. I mean efficiencies, etc. That would be met out of their internal. Would be roughly around we are just around 100 crores per year you can take. Plus, we have kind of also kept in our plans a possibility of in case we get some good stressed assets, etc. In small stressed assets somewhere, we might probably look at them. So maybe we will probably spend another 200 crores on them over the next 3 years. So roughly 500 crores you can say roughly spread over 3 years in the pulp paper business, coming out of their divisional cash flows. And most of the other things, we expect our post all our divisions to generate at least 300 crores free cash flows, which will be probably used in our real estate business. I hope that.
Just one question. The textile, you said it will be mostly maintenance capex. So how much is that?
You can roughly say around 20 crores at the higher side every year.
Okay. And the rest will be real estate?
I'm sorry. I said real estate would be out this is 20 crores of the textile business will be coming from their cash flows, and once that is deducted from their cash flows, the free cash flow available of textile plus paper business would be roughly around 300 crores, which we will use in the real estate business. I hope that helps.
Okay. Yeah. So the 300 crores will be over 3 years.
I mean, of course, I'm just giving you a kind of a ballpark number. 300 also depends on what is their profitability, what EBITDA levels they achieve, etc. over the next 3 years. So 300 can be 600 crores also.
Okay. Okay. And one more question on the Worli project, the flagship project. What is the estimated cost of this project, like the entire project?
So, the cost is an estimate. So we are looking at various aspects of the cost. We need to finalize the cost. So, for example, construction costs, that will be, on construction area, it's between about 6,000 to 7,000 rupees per square foot on the constructed area. We have premium costs about 8,000 rupees and various other sales, marketing, all those costs. So that's expected around 18,000 to 20,000 rupees, all escalations, etc.
Okay. And this is expected to be completed by which year?
So phase 1 should be in 5 years. And overall project may take about 8 to 10 years for completion, the entire Worli parcel.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will take one final question from the line of Saket Kapoor from Kapoor & Company. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you again, sir. Sir, my question was, which was pending, was firstly, what are the utilization levels, sir, for the paper for us and also for the industry currently, sir? And going forward, say, 3 to 5 years down the line, how are the revenue mix and the profitability contribution to the company from the various segments likely to shape up?
Right now, you can say the plant productivity is usage is around more than 100%. The manufacturing capacity is being utilized more than 100%.
Okay.
And in terms of revenue mix, Nehal, can you answer me?
Please ask. Revenue, sorry, Sanket, what was your question on the revenue mix?
Yes, sir. I'm looking at the revenue mix and the profitability mix going forward, say 2-3 years down the line, when the expansion and the real estate projects will start really kicking in. Yeah, the estimate, how is that at that time the pie going to look for the company, sir?
So that's a good question. Right now the pie is, I mean, if you leave aside the 5% pie that we have on the real estate business, which is essentially the leasing business, we have 70% coming from paper business and the 25% coming from textile business. What is going to happen, Sanket, is that, in terms of profitability, it would be very difficult for me to give you a pie on a basis, because the way the real estate business is that once the project is completed, the entire profit of that particular project is booked in that particular year in which it is. In 1 year, you will suddenly have a huge contribution from the real estate business, and if there are a couple of projects together, and maybe in the next year when no project is completed, you might actually have nothing to show on that front. It is very difficult to therefore tell you on a very consistent basis what the mix is going to be. But as far as I understand, at least I can give you, if you take away the real estate business, on an average, we'll continue to maintain this, 70-25% ratio between textiles and paper business, with a slight bias that the paper business turnover might actually increase and maybe go even to 75 or 80%.
that accounts the tissue part into it.
I mean, yeah, including the new tissue. I'm talking about the entire paper division.
Yes.
Tissue business.
Right. Sir, lastly, sir, on the tissue business, sir, the unit being commissioned now. When is the commissioning expected to happen, and sir, what would be its contribution going forward? And the ramp up will happen, sir, gradually, or what is the process?
Sagar, right now we are running the machine at 70% efficiency, and we were waiting the technicians. They have to come from Sweden. They are likely to reach here by last week of this month, and we are anticipating that in month of November they are streamlining and giving the performance guarantee run to us. And by end of Q3, the machine should run between 90 to 100%.
Okay. And as there is rightly said, has that the 70-30, 75-20 will be the ratio for paper and the textile part, and 5% would be from the real estate segment. So, sir, currently, what is the dependence of this real estate on the other segments, sir? When I'm talking about the cash flow and also the working capital requirements, are these is on a standalone basis? The real estate segment can look after itself, or it needs the cash flow from the other two segments to take care of the same?
Sanket, right. I mean, right now, of course, the real estate business is kind of dependent not just on the cash flows of the existing business, but also on borrowings from the parent company. But we expect the real estate business, once it delivers couple of projects, say in a couple of years or so, it will be, on its own, and probably that is the time. I think there was another question which was asked. That would be the time when we'll actually start thinking about, if there is a need for any restructuring in the conglomerate.
Right. And our concentration is mainly towards the luxury segment, sir, and it will only to the western and the southern part of the country, or the east is also an area where we are looking to explore the real estate segment.
So currently our focus is on 4 cities, 4 metro cities: NCR, Bombay, Bangalore, and Pune, because these 4 cities constitute about 80% of the residential real estate market, 70 to 80%, somewhere around that. So, and these are the most consistent market compared to any other markets, compared to east or other parts of the country. So therefore, our focus will be on these 4 markets for some time to come until we stabilize and really grow, establish ourselves very strongly in these markets. So beyond that, if there are some great opportunities come up in any of the new cities, etc., we'll be open to it. As of now, for the next few years, it will be focused on these 4 markets.
Thank you for all the answers, sir. All the best, sir, and greetings, sir, and public greetings, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anuj, can you check if Venkat is there? I just wanted to give a clarification on an earlier question that you asked.
Sure, sir. Sir is connected. You may please.
Venkat, just a small clarification. You had asked me about the inventory question on a standalone basis, right? So actually, the major increase in that standalone inventory is essentially for our Worli project, where we have paid a premium of around 200 plus crores. That is the reason why that inventory has gone up. Is he there?
Okay, otherwise later on you can convey.
Sir, he was there in the call.
Okay.
Thank you. I now hand the conference over to Mr. J.C. Ladda from Century Textile and Industries Limited for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Thank you all for participating in this earnings con call. In this quarter, we have observed excellent performance. I'm confident that coming quarters will be even better and will not get impacted by COVID-19 challenges. I hope we have been able to answer your questions satisfactorily. If you have any further questions or would like to know more about the company, we would be happy to be of assistance. We are very thankful to all our investors who stood by us and had the confidence in the company's growth plans. And thank you, Anuj, for organizing this wonderful con call. And with this, I wish everybody a great evening and great festival season, particularly Happy Dussehra. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Anuj. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Century Textiles and Industries Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you all for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.